Good morning. I am the Reverend Denise Gouch. My pronouns are she, her, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to worship with the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Nashville. As Unitarian Universalists, our spiritual paths vary, but in this congregation, we have made a covenant together. We affirm our interdependence, celebrate our differences, and work for justice. We are a welcoming congregation, and we deepen our relationships as we serve our congregation's mission to create community, nurture spiritual growth, and act on our values in the broader world, guided by reason and compassion. I'd like to extend a special welcome to visitors worshiping with us this morning. If you are seeking a spiritual home, we hope that you may find it here. If you have questions about our congregation, please be in touch with me. You can find my email address in the staff directory under Contact Us on our website. I look forward to hearing from you. If you are with us for the live broadcast of this service on Zoom, you may wish to experiment with the view settings at the upper right corner of your screen. And won't you please say hello in the chat? We love knowing who's here with us live. No matter what platform you're using to join us for worship, you can find helpful information like ways to give, faith development resources for all ages, and more in the worship portal on our website, firstuunash.org. We are so glad you're joining us for worship.
Good morning. My name is Jay Tiefenbrunn, my pronouns she, her, and I'm pleased to serve as your director of music ministries. And this morning, I'm also serving as your Zoom projectionist. Our opening hymn is the refrain of a song written by Sarah Dan Jones, a well-known musician in Unitarian Universalist circles. This morning, we're blessed by the music and voices of the duo Unfolding, who have graciously shared their music with us for online worship. Won't you join in the spirit of meditation and singing?
Here we go. Good morning, everyone. My name is Elaine Bailey-Freed. I'm your worship associate this morning, and our call to worship this morning is In Between by Kate Walker. In between, liminal, that space where we wait. Between moments, events, results, action, no action, to stand on the threshold, waiting for something to end and something new to arrive, a pause in the rumble of time. Awareness claims us, alert, a shadow of something different. In between invitation and acceptance, in between symptom and diagnosis, in between send and receipt of inquiry and question, in between love given and love received. Liminality, a letting go, entering into confusion, ambiguity, and disorientation. A ritual begun, pause, look back at what once was, look forward into what becomes. Identity sheds a layer, reaches into something uncomfortable to wear. In between lighting of the match and the kindling of oil, in between choosing of text and the reading of words, in between voices and notes carried through the air into ears to hear, in between creation thrusts ever forward. Social hierarchies may disassemble and structures may fall, communities may revolt or tempt trust, tradition may falter or creativity crashes forward, leaders may step down or take charge. The people may choose or refuse. In between, storm predicted, the horizon beacons. In between, theology of process reminds us to step back. In between, where minutiae and galaxies intermingle with microbes and mysteries. In between, liminal, that space where we wait. Look, listen, feel, breathe. Our chalice lighting this morning is On Thresholds by Florence Caplow. We kindle this flame, honoring the doorways in our souls, the windows through which we gaze at one another, the balconies where we catch glimpses of sky, the thresholds we stand on this morning, wondering, hoping, fearing, dreaming.
Good morning. I'm Marguerite Mills, your Director of Lifespan Religious Education. My pronouns are she, her. And this morning's story is Frederick by Leo Leone. All along the meadow, where the cows grazed and the horses ran, there was an old wall. In that wall, not far from the barn and the granary, a chatty family of field mice had their home. But the farmers had moved away. The barn was abandoned and the granary stood empty. And since winter was not far off, the little mice began to gather corn and nuts and berries and wheat and straw. They worked day and night, all of them, all except Frederick. Frederick, why don't you work? They asked. I do work, said Frederick. I gather sun rays for cold, dark winter days. And when they saw Frederick sitting there, staring at a meadow, they said, and now, Frederick? I gather colors, Frederick said simply, for winter is gray. And once Frederick seemed half asleep. Are you dreaming, Frederick? They sounded reproachful. But Frederick said, oh, no, I am gathering words, for the winter days are long and many, and we will run out of things to say. The winter days came, and when the first snow fell, they took to their home in the stones. In the beginning, there was lots to eat, and the mice told stories of foolish foxes and silly cats. They were a happy family, but little by little, they had nibbled up most of the nuts and berries. The straw was gone, and the corn was only a memory. It was cold in that wall, and no one felt like chatting. It was no longer winter as they started it, nor was it the spring they waited for. They were neither here nor there. They did not know what to do. And then they remembered what Frederick had said about sun rays and colors and words. "What about your supplies, Frederick?" they asked. "Close your eyes," said Frederick as he climbed up on a big stone. "Now I send you the rays of the sun. Do you feel their golden glow?" And as Frederick spoke of the sun, the four little mice began to feel warmer. Was it Frederick's voice? Was it magic? "And how about the colors?" they asked anxiously. "Close your eyes again," Frederick said. And when he told them of the blue periwinkles, the red poppies, the yellow wheat, and the green leaves of the berry bush, they saw the colors as clearly as if they had been painted in their minds. "And the words, Frederick?" Frederick cleared his throat, waited a moment, and then, as if from a stage, he said, "Who scatters snowflakes? Who melts ice? Who spoils the weather? Who makes it nice? Who grows the four-leaf clovers in June? Who dims the daylight? Who lights the moon for little field mice? Who live in the sky for little field mice like you and I? One is the spring mouse who turns on the showers. Then comes the summer who paints in the flowers. The fall mouse is next with walnuts and wheat. Aren't we lucky the seasons are four? Think of a year with one less or one more." They all applauded. "But Frederick," they said, "you are a poet." Frederick blushed, took a bow, and said shyly, "I know it." And so ends our story.
Good morning. My name is Victoria Harris, and this is Spanky, a credentialed pet therapy dog. We are official lay ministers at First UU, and before COVID, we visited church members who, for some reason or another, needed puppy love, or maybe they needed a good ear to talk. We also, before the year of the lockdown, we went to the Vanderbilt Cancer Center and we visited the Woodcrest Nursing Home, which is part of Blakeford. Not to mention that we take on many special assignments and requests like schools and boys and girls clubs, etc. And oh, the kids read to Spanky at the library, or at least they did at the Green Hills Library. Um, I thought I knew about love. I have been in love, but I have been schooled in love, on love by him. And particularly this past year, we live by ourselves and not too far from the church. So having him to cuddle with at night and wake up and I see those big brown eyes, that really meets my definition of love, of resilience of love. If this is not wholeness, I really don't know what is. I'm here today though to tell you about why I attend First UU and why I support the church in full. Sorry if you've heard this story before, but I do love to tell it. I got lucky growing up in a very, very liberal Lutheran church in Memphis, Tennessee. How liberal, you might ask? Well, this was the 60s, and women wore slacks to my church. And women held 50% of the leadership roles in the, in the church. That's unheard of, really, especially in the 60s. They said, the Lord is your shepherd and he knows you're gay. I'm like, really? My pastor walked down the street with Martin Luther King. We studied civil rights and social justice in Sunday school. We visited all the different religions that we could find in Memphis at the time. Frankly, they were a Unitarian Universalist church and they didn't even know it. So it was inevitable that I would find my way to a UU church when I moved to Nashville in 1983. Though it took years before I finally became a member, about 17 years ago, it's been my honor and privilege to serve on LGBTQ plus communities and projects, the Social Justice Committee, and I've even been known to cook for events such as the senior brunch. But then I did receive my own invitation to the senior brunch and different fundraisers. This year has been tough for all of us, but here are some things that I know. First, UU continues to be here for me and for Spanky. I'm almost 70, October 9th, if you're sending me a card. And Spanky is almost 11, June the 16th. Since we live alone, the support that we get from UU, from the first UU, is immeasurable, be it through Zoom, publications, fundraisers, various programs such as the Prison Letter Writing Group I recently joined, and of course, my favorite, lay minister meetings. My plan is to continue what I'm doing, which includes checking on people who are living alone and sharing my financial resources. And even though we are not in person, face to face, there are so many ways to love and support one another and this church with time and money. So Spanky and I challenge you to find ways to do it.
Thank you, Victoria, for that challenge. We hope to rise to it. In this season of virtual offering bowls, we are especially grateful for the steady generosity which allows us to continue creating community, nurturing spiritual growth, and acting on our values, both within and beyond the congregation. You may know that we share every Sunday's collection with an organization whose work outside our walls aligns with our values. Our Share the Plate partner for the month of March is the Second Harvest Food Bank of Middle Tennessee. The worship portal on our website, firstuunash.org, contains more information about Second Harvest, as well as a link to our online donation form. As always, your gifts, like your presence among us, are received with gratitude. Thank you, Holland. I invite you all now to take a deep breath, settle into whatever space you inhabit, and let us join our hearts in the spirit of prayer. Spirit of all, known by many names and none, so much in our lives, always, but perhaps especially now, feels in between. And so we are grateful that you are also the spirit of the in-between times and spaces. As we move in the time between yesterday and tomorrow, between winter and spring, between pandemic and whatever comes next, we are grateful that your love and your life, our love and life, flows always, not just in each of us, but between us, around us, through us. We are grateful to be in between, to be on the journey from there to here to the next place, to be together on the journey. May we be mindful always of those who live in between spaces that bring suffering and pain, injustice, and may we discern where our next steps might be. And may we find steps that lead to more justice, more peace, more love flowing through all the spaces that are our lives. Blessed be. May it be so.
Good morning again. I was facing some technical difficulties the last time I came in, so let me just say, I don't remember if I introduced myself. My name is Elaine Bailey Freed, and my pronouns are she, her, and I am your worship associate this morning. So, as we move into the spirit of meditation, I invite you to settle yourselves comfortably. Take a breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Close your eyes or soften your gaze. Maybe drop your shoulders. Take another breath. Soften your belly. As you take in your breath, let it out slowly. Notice that space between breathing in and breathing out. How does that feel? Can you feel that quiet calm, a sort of harbor between breathing in and breathing out when you only focus on your breath? Relax into body awareness. Continue to breathe. During quarantine, I've discovered that my body has a whole lifetime of things to say to me, and I haven't been listening. Notice your body sensations. Sometimes when I get in touch with my body during meditation, I feel tears gathering behind my eyes. If this happens for you, that's okay. You can investigate your bodily awareness with an open-hearted and gentle acceptance. All sensations are welcome and all belong. Keep breathing out and continuing to notice how your body feels. Try to be soft and non-judgmental with yourself as you breathe in and out. During meditation, as we watch our thoughts come and go without holding on to any one of them, accepting and allowing whatever comes, Sometimes thoughts of our past or our future come to mind. If that happens to you, gently and lovingly guide your thoughts back to your breath without judgment or censure, with spaciousness and softness. How does it feel to live in the now without ruining past decisions or being fearful of the future? How does it feel to notice what is sweet about each moment? We are practicing to live in the present. May it be so.
It's so good to breathe together. I'm the Reverend Dian Dowgiert, and it's my pleasure and my honor to be serving as developmental lead minister here at the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Nashville. As a developmental minister, I have dedicated the latter portion of my professional life to serving congregations in transition. I have a passion for those threshold times, those liminal spaces in between places that are neither here nor there. Thresholds connect one space to another, where the inside and outside meet. Bridges and tunnels are like thresholds, connecting one side of a river or a mountain to the other. To cross a threshold is to make a change. I grew up in the foothills of the Front Range of the Rocky Mountains in Colorado. As a child, it was a treat for me to pile into the back seat of the family car with my 3 siblings to take a drive through the mountains. I especially liked driving up Clear Creek Canyon because it had several tunnels. Before entering a tunnel, my dad would turn on the car's headlights and honk the horn. The sound echoed through the tunnel, and I liked to challenge myself to hold my breath from one end to the other. When the headlights went on, I took a deep breath, waiting to exhale until we reached the opening on the other side. The challenge wasn't all that hard, for even the longest tunnel required only 20 seconds or so of breathlessness. It was the year I graduated high school that the Eisenhower Tunnel was completed, the highest vehicular tunnel in the world, connecting one side of the Continental Divide to the other. What was once an hour's journey over a steep and treacherous mountain pass could now be accomplished in just under 3 minutes. I remember the first time my family and I drove through the tunnel. Upon entering, I reflexively took a deep breath and held it, a deeply ingrained habit. In the middle stretch of the tunnel, you can't see either end. Where you've come from recedes from view, and where you're going has yet to come into sight. What do? Breathe. Look around. Notice who is in the tunnel with you, how everyone slows down and puts safe distance between themselves and the car ahead. There's no turning around in the tunnel. The only way through is forward. There's no use trying to speed. In fact, speeding puts you and everyone else at risk. I can't tell you the number of times that I've sat backed up in traffic outside the tunnel because someone in the tunnel was careless and caused an accident. My friends, we are on a threshold. By we, I mean all of humanity, Our entire human family is on a threshold, a liminal space between what once was and what is yet to be. The threshold we are on is not like the one at an open door that we simply step across, but it's more like a long bridge or a tunnel. The view of life as it was is still in the rearview mirror, but it's receding. And we cannot, as of yet, get a full glimpse of what lies ahead. I hold out to you that this liminal space is a place of possibility, a time to imagine the world as it can be. Truth is that the image of the world that is receding in our rearview mirror wasn't all that great for a large number of people. The way it has been built on greed and toxic competition, pitting the needs of a few against the needs of the many, putting profits before people, the way it depends on extracting the earth's resources in a way that is rapidly becoming unsustainable, possibly depleting the earth to the point of being uninhabitable. This pandemic has laid bare the fault lines, breaking points, and broken places in our American society and others like it around the world. But here we are on this threshold, betwixt and between the old and the new. So what are we to do? First of all, we breathe, knowing that we can't hold our breath waiting for it all to be over. We breathe and we look around to see who is on this journey with us. We slow down and keep a safe distance, knowing that safe is what we make each other. We remember that even a year into this thing, we remember that our number one job right now is to survive and to help each other to survive. This has always been true, but it's much more evident now. Even as more and more people are being vaccinated, many more have not. For some, the end is in sight. For others, it hasn't even come into view. We can all use this liminal space to imagine what comes next, to dream the world we want to inhabit. Nothing new is ever built without imagining it first. The Eisenhower Tunnel wouldn't exist today if someone had not imagined that it could be done and then had the courage to begin and to see it through to the end. The mystic poet John O'Donohue writes, "Though your destination is not clear, you can trust the promise of this opening." And the scientist Albert Einstein, who was a bit of a mystic himself, said, "I must be willing to give up what I am to become what I will be." This giving up and letting go does not come without a certain amount of pain. It does come with much in the way of lament and gnashing of teeth, with sorrow and the grief of loss. We humans are adept at resisting change so as to avoid the pain and discomfort of loss. But having entered this liminal space that we are in, we've discovered how adaptable we really are. And we know there's no going back. We can't turn around. We can only go forward. It is times like these that we would be wise to heed the words of the prophet Jeremiah from a letter to his people during their time of exile. Even though this isn't the language we would use today, the ideas still resonate. Jeremiah said to the people, "This is what the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, says to all the exiles who were carried away from Jerusalem to Babylon. The exile will be long. So build houses and settle down. Plant gardens and eat their produce. Take wives and bear sons and daughters, bear children." What Jeremiah is saying is that we should live our lives now, even in this time of exile, when we have been taken out of the life we once knew. Live now and begin to envision how life could be. Begin now to live into that vision. Our Unitarian Universalist principles hold out a vision for the world we dream of, one where the inherent worth and dignity of every individual is recognized, an equitable world without divisions of race and class and sexual preference and gender identity, where every person has a vote and a voice, a world where we all recognize how profoundly interdependent we are with each other and with our natural world. My personal vision includes a world where we no longer settle our disputes with war, but seek peaceful resolutions, where we build economies that provide living and livable income for everyone, where everyone has access to the necessities of life, including education and healthcare. We are on a long threshold. There is light at the end, even if we can't see it yet. It is by faith that we keep moving forward. The possibility of this opening, this light we can just barely see, is that we have changed and we are changing still. We can choose different ways of being in the world starting now. We can live into a new future that is more kind, more compassionate, more equitable, more inclusive, and more humane. If only we begin to live that way now. May we trust the promise of this opening. Amen, and blessed be.
Thank you, Diane. Our closing song is a chant that was written by a dear friend of mine, Lindsay Watson, who passed away a few years ago. We used to sit in sacred circles together with other women and witness each other's transformation through songs and chants and toning. And today, I'll offer to you Doors Opening, and I hope that you will join with me in singing, harmonize, and allow yourself to be transformed. The lyrics will appear on your screen. Doors opening, doors closing, doors I'm opening, doors I'm closing. I am safe, it's only change. I am safe, it's only change. Doors opening, doors am safe, it's only change. I am safe, it's only change. I am safe, it's only change. I am safe, it's only change.
The words to the chalice extinguishing were written by Elizabeth Sell Jones. Please join me. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
May we go forth into this day, knowing we live on the threshold of possibility. This service has ended. May our service to the world continue. Go in peace, go in love.